Ah, Lilith, Jeff, and Dee Dee. Oh, it is so good to see you all. V22 has got us all tantalized with his mouth-watering images. Lovely things. Let us begin. Oh, yes, indeed. Today, a simple reminder to get us through the weekend. Why? Well, my son just said to me, Mom, this guy said, I hope your lips crack. Sure enough, he goes, Mom, can I have my lip balm? I was like, why? What's wrong? He goes, my lips are cracked. I said, why? He goes, well, this guy said, I hope your lips crack. And I said to him, so you let somebody come along and tell you how you should be? He goes, but I don't know what else to do. I said, what do you mean you don't know what else to do? So he referred to his game, Warframe. I don't know if you've ever played Warframe. Warframe has this, it's a frame, an avatar that you project your consciousness into. This is the game. You project your consciousness into the game, into this Warframe. And without your consciousness in it, it is limp. It does nothing. So I said to him, when you project your consciousness into your Warframe, who's telling it what to do? He goes, well, I am. I said, okay, you're the Warframe. He goes, well, Mom, I kill people in this Warframe. I'm like, oh, let's think about real life for a minute. I said, you're not killing people here. He says, no. He goes, so I'm supposed to choose what I want to do as if I'm in my Warframe and just do it. I said, yes. I said to him, the Warframe doesn't have any life unless you are in it. He goes, well, I know that. I said, well, your body is the frame at the moment. He goes, oh my God. I was like, yeah. He goes, but I know this. I said, well, then there's your simple reminder. Because if you think about it, this is what Neville Goddard is speaking about when he says that it is the imaginative man who has the power. Because he's the one imagining things and causing an influence. And it is the unimaginative man who is swayed by that influence. That's the difference. This is why superstitions, oh, I put a spell on you. That's why it works. Because you believe that they did. Now you've given them the power over you. You see, the thing has no power unless you accept it and live from it. Remember this. Things have no power other than what you give to them. How do you give power to something? By believing that it has power. You transfer your power into an inanimate thing and thereby bring it to life. How do you transfer your power into it? By giving it your attention. What attention? Oh my God, they really did do something to me. That's what you say to yourself. And because you say to yourself and you believe that somebody came along and did something to you, then they have control over you. It is as simple as that. So, what do you want in your day? Do you want to be at the whim, Stewie, and mercy of someone else? Or do you want to be the one in control? What's that song? Conducting things away. Who's conducting things? You are conducting things. How do you conduct something? First, you know what it is. Now, you can know what something is either consciously or unconsciously, which means consciously you have chosen. Unconsciously, you have allowed an old memory to dictate what you are instead of you choosing a new way of being. It's as simple as that. So when you decide, when you make a choice as to what you say you're going to be and do, we're going to talk about free will in depth, but I'll cover it here a little bit. Free will is this: go back to your garden to understand or comprehend free will. You choose the harvest. You say, ooh, I want zucchini. Oh, I want carrots. That's your choice. And what do you do when you make that choice? You go out and get the corresponding seed. And what do? You plant it. Free will ends there. Because now you, if you want your harvest to come in, you are forced, not in a bad way, right? Not in a do it or else. Nah, you are forced or compelled to do what? Water, weed, and fertilize. Why do you do that? Because you want your harvest. So you have to do what it takes to make it unfold or to allow it to unfold. That's what you're doing. So your free will ends when you make the choice of harvest. But in order for that seed to root, shoot, flower, and fruit, you have to, and when I say have to, I mean it. You must water it. You must fertilize it. You must prune it. If you do not do those things, the seed dies. So free will means you get to choose the type of harvest you want so you can plant the corresponding seeds. So today, what is your harvest that you want? This is why we recap, because how quickly we forget. Not because we're in the traditional sense lazy, but because we have already made a choice to do something. And when you make a choice to do something, you are under the compulsion to act to bring about the fulfillment of that choice. And that's all you and I are ever doing: bringing about the unfoldment of the thing we have chosen. So, today, my beautiful friends, make a choice. And when you make a choice, what would you naturally do? You'd naturally harvest, wouldn't you? I'm sure that's what you do. You'd go out and you'd see whatever. You pluck the carrot like I normally do, and I rub the carrot on my pant leg to get all the dirt off. Don't come for me. And then I eat it. Sure do. A lot of minerals are in that dirt. And I have carefully chosen the type of dirt, and I did not contaminate my dirt. So I can do that. See, you just rub the carrot and get the dirt off, and you take a bite. And what's up, Doc? That's what you do. You reap the benefits of the seeds you have planted. So you practice reaping so that you know, okay, here's my course of action. I got to pluck these, wash them, blanch them, can them, preserve them for throughout the winter so I got something to eat. So you got to go through that process. When we went to boot camp for the licensing exam for acupuncture, she had us go through this particular motion well over 1,000 times. Why? So that when I got to the exam, I could pick up the cup, pick up the matches, light the candle, and as soon as I walk in the door, I knew what I had to do because I rehearsed it 1,000+ times. So that when I got to the exam, I would know what I was doing. That's what you are doing when you choose the scene that would naturally happen. The thing that you're going to do physically, rehearse it mentally. That's what you're doing day in and day out. Day in and day out. So, what are you rehearsing? You rehearsing that argument? Or are you rehearsing the desired outcome and your behavior that you're going to play on the stage? So that when you open up the door and they say, "Here are your supplies, begin." You have practiced so much, it is muscle memory, and you know what you're doing because you are now presented with the opportunity to physically act. That's what you're doing. This is why you go to Lamaze class, so that you practice contractions, so that when the contractions get there, you don't freak out. Why? Because you have rehearsed contractions so that you know how to deliver your baby. What did you do for Lamaze class? You mentally prepared yourself so that you could physically act it out. Listen, when Neville tells you to mentally do a thing so that you can physically do it, do you think he's telling it to you because it's something new that we've never done? Come, we do it all the time. We are always mentally rehearsing. So, what he's teaching you is to deliberately mentally rehearse, which means you're not going from a memory that you were triggered to recall. You are not going from a memory that you were triggered to recall. You have chosen your new behavior and then conjured up what that new behavior would be and how you would act in it. So, what are you doing? You're living from now. You're not living from the past. So, you see, my beautiful friends, life is beckoning you. How is it beckoning you? By way of your desire, your needs. It's saying, "Oh, but we require this." And so you have the image of what you require. How are you going to use it? Rehearse how you're going to use it. That's all you're doing day in and day out. It's like when you're in chef school, you learn how to make that bechamel, a white sauce, a white creamy sauce, bechamel. You practice making it. Now, you ever watched your grandmother cook? She don't measure nothing. She just said a sprinkle of this, a dash of that, a pinch, a pinch of this, a squeeze of that. How does she know what to do? Because she has practiced, and over time, she knows what a tablespoon looks like. Just like we have these tin cans that are a pint. You go anywhere and you buy a container that has a pint of something in it. The more you measure with that pint and you pour out into the bowl, after such time, you stop having to measure what a pint looks like because you have remembered what it looks like. Sorry, y'all. Henrietta. But You remembered what that thing looks like. Why? Because you have been practicing it so that now you can just eyeball it and you know what you're doing. You know what a teaspoon looks like so that you can pinch it and sprinkle it in. Why? Because you've rehearsed it over and over again. So when you are rehearsing your desired outcome, you are not hoping and wishing the desired outcome occurs. You are practicing because it must occur and you have to be ready. 5 wise, 5 foolish virgins. They went to enough weddings to know that when people start to frolic, stuff gets delayed. And that's why they knew to be ready. But the foolish ones, who did not prepare themselves for the wedding that they were going to, suffered the consequence. And because they were late arriving to the party, all they heard was, "The party you're trying to reach is currently unavailable." The door was closed. So your simple reminder, know what you want and rehearse the most natural thing that you're going to do. You have to be ready. What does Esther Hicks say? You got to be ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. She's telling you, rehearse. Rehearse your desired outcome. But you know what we spend our time rehearsing? The stuff that we were triggered with. That's what we spend our time rehearsing. And then we sit there, we say, "Oh my God, why is this happening to me?" Because you keep practicing. And until you change what you practice, the thing that you currently do will remain the same. This is as simple as it gets. It is as simple as it gets. So, what are you going to do today? You're going to give life to your creation. How do you give life to your creation? By knowing what you want. Because when you know what you want, you've just given it form. You were like God, and you breathed your breath, what? Into the inanimate form of Adam that was dust. It had no life until you breathed life into it by way of your attention. So, what did he do with Adam? He gave Adam form. And when he gave Adam form, right? What did he do? He gave Adam form and then he breathed his life into it. Oh, Lord. So that Adam could live and become. So the thing that you desire is the shape of Adam. And when you rehearse it, you are giving life to Adam. Why? So that Adam can be experienced. That is what you're doing over and over and over again every day. Now, I want you to get a hold of the freedom that brings you, that you are not stuck in a life of undesirability. You're not stuck in a life where you get up and you go, "Ugh, again, Groundhog Day." You're not stuck in that. How are you not stuck? All you get to do is choose. Remember Deuteronomy 28. Today I put before you life and death. Choose life. Choose life. Give life shape so that you can do what? Experience it in its fullness. You can't wait for the shape to happen. If you wait for the shape to happen, what happens? We're going to be waiting in vain. You have to give it shape. And we give it shape by knowing what we want. As soon as you say, ooh, apples, you've given it shape. You know what you want. So how do you want to bite into that apple? You want to rub it on your shirt and it gets shiny, and you take that first bite and then you go, oh, but that is tasty. And so you rehearse biting into your apple. Your apple is not imaginary. Your apple is not fake. You gave it shape, you gave it life, so now it has to root, shoot, flower, and fruit. So you can bite into it and feel that crunch and have the juice spray out, and you go, oh my, and that's something sweet. So when you, in your imagination, bite into your apple, make it a sweet, juicy apple. That's what you're doing. That is your reminder today. So, what is it that you're going to put life into? Remember, whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is honest, of good report. Think on these things. Because when you think on those things, you're giving shape to the thing you want to experience. And the more you put your attention on that to rehearse how you're going to behave with it, because the form is inevitable, what are you going to do? How are you going to treat it? What are you going to do naturally? And you say, ooh, I'm going to test that out. And so then you test it out and you practice. You say, oh, this is going to be the sweetest apple. And when you bite into it, taste the sweetness on your tongue and go, oh, I've never had something this sweet before. Because that's what you'd say when you bit into it. You know, summer fruit, and you drive by and the guy from his orchard picked his peaches or his apples, and he's at the side of the road, or his cherries, and he's at the side of the road, and you say, ooh, cherries. Oh, and you know they're sweet, and you begin to taste that they're sweet. So that when you buy the cherries, which is inevitable because you're the one who said, I want some sweet cherries, you bite into them and you go, oh, the first thing you would naturally say is, wow, these are the sweetest cherries I ever had. But you already knew it would be sweet because you told it to be sweet. You told it to be sweeter than anything I know. That's what you told it to be. Sweeter than anything you've ever had. So remember today, you are the one giving shape to the thing you want to experience. Without you giving it shape, you cannot experience it. So practice giving something shape in your mind and acting the same way you would when you encounter it in the physical. Because when you encounter it in the physical, you already know how you're behaving. You rehearsed it day in and day out. It's old hat to you. It's second nature to you because you've been doing it for how long? That is your reminder today. But You've got to be bold, my friend. You've got to be brazen and say, I am, and I mold and shape my world to become whatever I want it to be. Whatever who wants it to be, whatever I want it to be. That's what we do day in and day out. So when you go through this weekend and you say, shoot, I don't know what to cook, get a mental image. And when you get the mental image, you are forced to go out and get the ingredients. Forced, yeah. I use it loosely because, you know, twisting your arm. But in this case, your rubber arm, because you know what you want. So just do it in your imagination and rehearse it there. Rehearse it there over and over and over again. Because why are you rehearsing it? So that you know how to act. It's the same way why you train up a child in the way it should go and it will not depart from it. Why will it not depart from it? Because it is compelled to behave the way you have trained it to be. That's what happens. So that when it goes out into the world mentally now, oh, I've encountered this. Oh, mommy told me what to do in this situation. And what does it do? Act it out. That's being deliberate. So you want to be disciplined? What does discipline look like? What does discipline feel like in your body? Well, you know it brings peace of mind. You know it brings comfort. So begin to practice mentally the thing you want to be disciplined in. So that when the thing arises, you are already disciplined, are you not? Because it's second nature because you've been practicing and rehearsing it for so long. That's what you're doing. Day in and day out. And this is why Neville tells you you need no man to come and rescue you. So that when you rehearse over and over and over again, just like your small child in the school play, you get to help them remember their lines. They go to school and they rehearse. Why? So when that light comes on the stage and they take center stage, they're not frozen deer in the headlights. Why not? Because they've practiced their role ad nauseum. They practiced that role till they just wanted to vomit. Sorry if you're eating. That's why they succeed, because they rehearse and they rehearse and they rehearse and they rehearse mentally over and over again. I trust that those examples, you're going for that job interview for your desired job. Well, rehearse. How are you going to sit? You're going to slouch? If you slouch in your imagination, you're going to slouch there too. But what do you say to yourself? The best impression. So begin to rehearse your best impression. You got beautiful posture. And when you speak, you're confident in your speech because listen, we've been through enough interviews to know what kind of questions we're going to get. And if you don't know what kind of questions you're going to get, well, LinkedIn will tell you the kinds of questions a potential employer will ask you. Tell me, where was the time you exercised your leadership skills? You know that question is coming. So do you want to be caught? Well, let me think back. No, you rehearse that time that you exhibited your leadership skills. And you do it day in and day out because you know that question is there already. So you might as well be ready to answer it. Now I trust that these examples are down to earth enough so we can apply them. It's just like a relationship. What kind of relationship do you want? How do you want to behave in your relationship? You want to argue in your relationship? So, what are you going to rehearse? Or do you want to be sweet in your relationship? You want to be naughty in your relationship? You want to be, strong of mind and have ideas and witty? You want to be that in your relationship? You want to be a good listener in your relationship? Well, then, what do you want to hear? Because you said you want to be a good listener. Well, then, hear the person you are in the relationship with say, "Oh my God, it's like we're two peas in a pod. How'd we get so lucky?" But if you don't spend time rehearsing how you want to be, now, here's the beautiful part. The more you rehearse how you want to be, what happens to you? Oh, you change. Wait, what? You change. So, what are you doing? You're building your boo. How are you building your boo? You're building your boo because of who you say you are. That's what you're doing. And you practice the kind of woman you want to be, or practice the kind of man you want to be in your relationship. You come home and you say, "Oh, sweetie, I missed you all day." And you have a hug and a kiss and you say, "Baby, I missed you too." You want to be able to have a conversation in your relationship without coming to strong words. They'll practice your demeanor in your relationship. And then what happens? So okay, you're practicing how you want to react or behave in your relationship. And if you say, "Well, oh no, we might have this obstacle," practice working through the obstacle, which means you listen, you see the obstacle, you hear him or her out, and you fix it with ease. But if you don't practice being who you want to be in your relationship, first of all, how can the relationship get there if you don't give it form? Second, how do you know how to behave if you don't rehearse? So rehearse who you want to be in your relationship. But you see, when we go from memory, right? And if your parents used to argue all the time, and your perception or your attitude for that memory is, "Oh my God, I never had a good example of relationships." No, you may not have had a good example of relationships, but that's a memory. So remember, the law says don't go back there. Create what type of relationship you want based upon what you want to experience. So you want to experience peace and tranquility in your relationship. Well, then you've got to rehearse being peaceful and tranquil. To say that when the relationship comes along and you come upon an obstacle, you work through this as a team because you've practiced being a team player. You've practiced that if you come home and you had a hard day, you want to hear, "Oh, honey, you know what? Let me run you a bath. I know what you like to smell like. I got that lavender for you. I've got that rose petals for you. I know what you want." How do you know that he's going to say that to you? Because you told him to say it in your imagination. Or you told her to say it in her imagination. In your imagination, sorry. You rehearsed it. So your reminder today, as we read last night, your world is the clay and you are the potter at the wheel. You cannot start turning that wheel till you have in your mind the image to recreate. So rehearse and rehearse and rehearse every shape, every bend in your design from the clay. I trust that those examples, like, listen, let's take a moment. I trust that those examples are helpful to you. Let's take a moment because I got to read you this comment. Let's welcome everybody to the space, shall we? Ruru, Lilith, Love, Troll V22, Jeff, and oh, we have a Trini. We have a Trini in the house. Eh, what is your name? Big Bank Red. Hey, Trini. Hey, do the thing for me, yeah? That's my example of a Trini. I can't speak in your Trini dialect, but it is a beautiful dialect, huh? Trini. Trinidadian, sorry. Welcome to Twitter. And she's laughing at my feeble attempt at being a Trinidadian. Ah, but I do love the Trini accent. Michelle Montano. Anyways, who's here? Indies on Facebook. And we have Cyber. This is what made me laugh. Cyber says you have to have a buildable workshop. You know what? I'm going to build your boo. That's what we're going to do. A ray of sunshine, shea butter, a not. Joaquin, a not. And for the others who've not made themselves known, I see you. I see you. And I'm glad you're here. Fan base, who's here? Hey, Dawn, Marquise, Triple S, or 777.
Hey, we here, we here.
Yeah, baby, we're here. Desiree, get it, chick. Coach, Miss McQueen. Hey, Desiree. Desiree and Coach. Ali, Yamila, KZ. Oh, snap. Oracle Treehouse. My Melanin, Zola, Yolanda. And I did not say Summer Rose. I didn't say that. But she's in my mind. Always on my mind. Sorry, because she is. Anyhow, I trust. But seriously, that Build a Boo workshop, I'll set a date and we're going to build a boo. If you're single, we're going to build a boo. Because that's a phrase I heard, Usher and what's her face, Alicia Keys. My boo, right? Yeah. So we're going to build a boo so that we.
Excellent vocals.
Why, thank you, Marquis. But that's what we're going to do. Because listen, everything you are building is your boo. Why? Because Neville Goddard says when you have that image in your mind, you're so in love with it. Why? Because the fact that you are in love with it causes you to do what? Stay faithful to it to bring about its shape so you can interact with it. You're committed to it because you love it. Period. That's what it is. So today, my beautiful friends, your Friday reminder to get you through the weekend, because you know as well as I know, there are many projections. And remember what Neville said. It is the imaginative man or woman who is so strong in the projecting of their mental image that the person who is weaker in their minds falls under that spell of the stronger mind's image. And they act it out as if it were their own. That's the power. So why would you give your power away? We're sitting here saying, here, take it, take my power. What? Your power is meant for you. Everybody was given their share. Everybody was given their share. So use it wisely, because remember what the scripture says. You have a lot, you get a lot more. Why? Because you're using it. But if you get that one, remember the talents, 5, 2, and 1, you get the one and you say, oh, I'm scared. My master might be wicked and mean, and I'm afraid of him, so I'm going to bury it. And you bury your ability to create your own reality. And then what happens to you? You're subject to the other person who creates theirs and you play the role they assign you. But that's another day. So, my beautiful friends, it's not it's not just that we're in this world, yeah? We're in it. Yes. But do you know what makes us not be of it? We are using our ability, our mental ability to create the world we want to be a part of. We are in this one, but we are creating what we want to be part of, which means you can have 20 people, as we learn in clinic. You can have 20 people come in with a headache and all have different causes of that headache. The headache is the common denominator, but because each person lives out their own thing, they have their own root cause of a headache. So you're in this world because we're in it. But of it, no, we are of the world that we create mentally. Just a reminder, a friendly reminder. So, what are we going to do? We are going to be bold and we are going to rehearse our boldness. You say a splash of this, a sprinkle of that, a pinch of this, ooh, a dash of that, and then you taste it. What do you mean you taste it? You have the experience. And if you taste it and it makes you pucker up and go, ooh, oh, that's not sweet enough, what do? As Neville says, revise, revise. Put into the pot now the thing you know that would make it sweet and decadent for you. Decadent in the fact that it is, ooh, divine when you taste it. But that's on you. You're your master chef. You're your own red seal. That's what we call them here. I don't know about anywhere else. A red seal is the top of the line, or you could call it a Michelin star. You think they became a Michelin star chef by doing what? Rehearsing their dishes. They went home and they had an idea. Ooh, that dish looks divine. And they made that dish in their minds. They knew all of the ingredients. And when they got into the kitchen, they pulled out all the ingredients and did what? Hope for the best. Nah, they already rehearsed the ingredients, so they knew exactly how it would turn out. Of course, unless you're dealing with the finicky souffle. You make one wrong move and your souffle says, I deflate. And it doesn't care. But what do? We don't cry because the souffle has deflated. We revise. Because you go back in your mind and you look and you run through what you did in that souffle. So that what do you do next? You do the new thing in your mind. So that when you remake the souffle, you can look at it and say, rise, my creation, rise. That's what you can do. So, anywho, I'm not going to keep you. Let's get the bowl. Hey, sugar visions. Good morning, Goddess Pure Diamond. So, what are you going to do? What role are you assuming? Again, it goes for everything that you are creating, your business. What kind of businessman or businesswoman are you? Are you one of mutual benefit? What does that mean? It means you build it in its most beautiful form and it serves the purpose of the one who's going to use it. And they say to you, wow, this was exactly what I needed. You didn't have to convince them of something. They knew what they wanted. And remember what we read last night? It could have been that little old lady shredding the grapes in the wine press. which means you're building a business of mutual benefit where everybody wins. And so the person that comes along and says, "This was exactly what I was looking for." We can't even tell if the person who was looking for that exact thing and built it in their minds influenced you to create it, or vice versa, or as they say, vis-a-vis, right? So practice creating in your mind what you want to experience physically. And that is where I leave you this morning, this lovely Friday. Let's get the bowl out. Let's get that bowl. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jeff, V22, Love Troll, Lilith, Ruru. Thank you all for being here on a lovely Friday on Twitter. And I look forward to seeing you. If you are in law school, remember this Saturday we are doing the Q&A for chapter 5, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will find that link on Patreon for your private class. I will also send it out via email. So please watch for it so that you can submit your questions where you think you're stuck, and we will go through those things with our Q&A. And that's what's happening for law school on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, uh, Fan base? No. Facebook? Too many F words, eh? Facebook and YouTube. I see you all, and I thank you for being here. And it is lovely, isn't it? And remember, tonight we will conclude the law and the promise. Oh, yes, we shall. And you know the following book is Seed Time and Harvest. Mm, take some, leave some. I'll respond shortly to your note. I did get it. Sometimes if I take a bit to respond, I am working on a completion date for a project. So that's the thing that overrides everything else. So that's what's going on. So, Twitter, I love you. And I'll see you soon. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook, I love you. And I will see you again tonight.